Welcome to Money Gang. It doesn't take much to get caught up in the mix. When a high-profile artist comes from a lifestyle of actual street activity or the glamorization of it, sometimes that can lead to legal issues and being targeted by the police. Unfortunately, many of rap's most popular faces and names have done pretty lengthy bids in the can. Here's a look at the rappers who've had long prison bids and how their run-ins with the law occurred. Before we start, if you enjoy this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks. In 2009, Bossie was arrested for his third marijuana possession charge, resulting in a 2-year prison sentence. The judge doubled his sentence after Bossie violated probation, and it was doubled again when he pleaded guilty to attempting to smuggle drugs into prison. While fighting these charges, Bossie was also facing a murder trial for the 2009 killing of a local rapper, a case in which he ultimately avoided the death penalty and was acquitted. After spending 5 years behind bars, Bossie was released in 2014. TK was involved in a botched robbery in July 2016 that left one person dead. While under house arrest, he cut off his ankle monitor and fled, inspiring the multi-platinum hit The Race. After being apprehended, TK was charged with another murder, as authorities believed he killed a photographer during a robbery. In 2019, he was sentenced to 55 years for the murder, along with additional sentences for aggravated robbery to be served concurrently. TK was also fined $21,000. In February 2024, video footage emerged of him rejecting a plea deal in a second murder case. At 15, 42 Doug was arrested in 2010 for carjacking and firearms possession, leading to a 4-year sentence. After a fight in prison, he received an additional 2 years in solitary confinement, during which he began writing rap lyrics. He took his music seriously upon his release in 2017. In 2023, Doug was sentenced to a year in prison for failing to surrender for a prior federal gun charge. He was released in October 2023 after serving time. In 1991, Slick Rick was arrested for shooting his cousin, who had tried to extort him. An innocent bystander was also injured, and a police chase ensued, resulting in attempted murder charges. Rick served 5 years in prison. Mystikal, once a major figure in the rap industry, was convicted in 2004 of sexual battery and extortion after an assault on his hairstylist. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. In 2022, Mystikal was again arrested, this time for rape and false imprisonment, with the possibility of a life sentence if convicted. Rowdy Rebel was arrested alongside Bobby Shmurda and other members of the GS9 gang in 2014, facing charges including attempted murder and weapons possession. Rowdy was sentenced to 12 years, but Bobby Shmurda accepted a longer sentence to reduce Rowdy's time. Rowdy was released in 2020. Bobby Shmurda was arrested in 2014 for conspiracy, murder, and weapons possession. He was sentenced to 7 years, serving most of his time, but was denied release in 2020. He was finally freed in 2021 after completing his sentence. Remy Ma was convicted of assault and weapons charges in 2008 for shooting a friend during an argument over missing money. She was sentenced to 8 years, serving 6 before her release in 2014. Maisan was convicted of armed robbery in 1999 and sentenced to 14 years in prison. Though he maintained his innocence, he served 7 years before being released in 2006. Flesh and Bone was sentenced to 12 years in 2000 after pulling an AK-47 on a former friend, although the judge showed some leniency due to his troubled childhood. Shine was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his role in a 1999 nightclub shooting. After serving his time, he was deported to Belize in 2009. Turk, a member of the Hot Boys, was sentenced to 14 years in prison after a 2004 incident in which he shot 2 police officers during a raid. He served nearly 9 years before his release. BG was sentenced to 14 years in prison after a 2009 traffic stop led to the discovery of stolen guns. He was released in September 2023 after serving 11 years. G. Depp, a former Bad Boy Records artist, confessed to a 1993 murder in 2010 and was convicted in 2012. He served 13 years and was released in April 2024. In 2007, Chicago rapper Bump J and another man walked into a bank and stole $100,000 before going on the run. He was eventually arrested in 2008 during a traffic stop. Bump J accepted a plea deal and served 7 years for the robbery, being released in 2017. In January 2000, Native Tongues member Chia Lee was involved in the fatal shooting of his brother-in-law after an argument. Chia Lee fled, leading authorities on a year-long manhunt before his capture in March 2001. He was featured on America's Most Wanted and was sentenced to 14 years for the crime. Max B was linked to a 2006 hotel robbery that ended in the shooting death of a man, even though he wasn't present at the scene. His girlfriend and another accomplice carried out the crime, but Max B was convicted of conspiracy and initially sentenced to 75 years. After revisiting his case, his charges were reduced to manslaughter and his sentence shortened to 12 years. In 2002, rapper shmurda was accused of killing a 16-year-old outside a nightclub during a brawl. His case sparked controversy, with 2 convictions and multiple legal battles, including involvement from the Supreme Court and the Louisiana NAACP. The phrase "Free shmurda" became a rallying cry for his supporters. In February 2000, No Limit rapper Mac Phipps was scheduled to perform at a Louisiana club when a fight broke out, ending in a shooting that killed a 19-year-old. Although a security guard later confessed to the shooting, Phipps was still charged and sentenced to 30 years for manslaughter in 2001. After nearly 2 decades in prison, he was granted clemency and released in 2021 in what many consider a case of wrongful imprisonment. Bay Area rapper Big Lurch's case is one of the most shocking. In 2002, while high on PCP, Lurch attacked a woman, breaking her neck and jaw, stabbing her, and cannibalizing parts of her body. Found covered in blood and with no memory of the event, he was later examined and pieces of the victim's flesh were discovered in his stomach. Lurch was sentenced to life in prison for the murder in 2003. That concludes our video for today. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.